Hello, and welcome to this session on studying liberal arts at the University of Glasgow. Whether you're considering an application or already holding an offer with us, thank you for making the time to join us today. It's lovely to have you with us. My name is Dr. Madeleine Chalmers, and I'm the Programme Director for our four-year undergraduate MA in Liberal Arts. And I'm in excellent company today, so I'm going to ask my co-panelists to introduce themselves.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Greg Kerr. I'm a senior lecturer in French. I'm based in the College of Arts and Humanities, and I had the privilege of being involved in setting up this very exciting new program.
Hi, I'm Athena Coyle. I study psychology and linguistics, but I was lucky enough to take the Liberal Arts 1B course Intercultural Literacies this year. And so I'm here to talk about that and a little bit about student life at the University of Glasgow.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. We're going to begin with a little bit of an introduction to the degree, who it's for, what it involves, and where it can take you. And then we're going to hand over to you, and the rest of the session will be here to answer your questions about the course and about any aspect of life and study at Glasgow. So if you've ever been told that you're an all-rounder, or maybe been told off at school for going off topic or asking too many questions, if you've got multiple intellectual interests that you feel you can't choose between, or if you're still figuring out your path and what you might want to specialise in, then liberal arts might be the right kind of degree for you. Now, you might have heard of a liberal arts education or a liberal arts college before. At one level, liberal arts is about having the freedom to craft a flexible degree with all the advantages that come with studying lots of different subjects. But liberal arts has a really ancient history, particularly at the University of Glasgow. Its history here is almost as old as the university itself, and we're celebrating our 575th birthday. Centuries ago, the classical liberal arts aimed to ready students to play an active role as citizens by developing knowledge, but also practical skills in debate and argumentation. Our programme is about taking that ethos into the 21st century and thinking about the kind of education that we need for the next 575 years. So our four-year undergraduate liberal arts degree aims to nurture well-rounded, socially conscious, ethically attuned graduates who are ready to enter the workplace and make their contribution to society, developing solutions to the issues that your generation faces around questions of culture, identity, migration, well-being, and the environment. So we're not just inviting you to study lots of different subjects alongside one another. We're inviting you to think about those subjects together to make them spark off each other in new and exciting ways. So in this vision, education isn't just about the freedom to choose. It's also about having the freedom to understand who you are, to try out new things, to figure out what it is that you want to do in the world, and to acquire the experience, knowledge, creativity, and confidence to just go out there and do it. So why study the arts and humanities? And why study them in this particular form? The arts and humanities, and liberal arts in particular, are not just about what you study. They're about the kind of person that you become through studying in that particular way. Someone who's intellectually confident and agile, who can navigate complexity and new situations, see patterns and connections that other people might miss, and trust and articulate their own insights in lots of different settings and in lots of different ways. These are skills that have never been more needed in our societies, and I don't think they'll ever be obsolete. At Glasgow, you'll study liberal arts with one of 6 pathway subjects that you'll take throughout your degree. I'm going to hand over to Greg to tell you a little bit more.
Thank you, Maddie. So at Glasgow, you'll study liberal arts with one of 6 pathway subjects, and your pathway subject essentially offers you structure and the ability to deepen your subject knowledge in a set of world-class departments that we have here at the university. So these include English literature, comparative literature, history, philosophy, theatre studies, and film and television studies. And it all fits together like a triple-decker structure. Alongside the liberal arts courses in layer 1 and your pathway subject in layer 2, you can choose from courses across the university's offer. And you have the opportunity, should you wish, to apply for a tailored English language semester or year at one of our partner institutions across the world in the third year. And this gives you true freedom to explore your interests and discover ones that you didn't know you had. But what really makes this degree special is the core liberal arts courses, and these are the backbone of our degree programme. These are not generic interdisciplinary or methods courses. They lock into pressing issues of our contemporary moment. And they include things like social justice, migration, intercultural understanding, health and well-being, and the environment. And they're anchored in practical and creative approaches which get students out of the university and into the city, learning from external institutions and from groups. So we understand creative and arts-based here in a very literal way. Students will be producing assessed work in the form of interviews, posters, photography, videos, and curatorial and reflective journals and commentaries.
Thank you, Greg.
So now there are no limits to where liberal arts can take you. The skills and experiences that make this degree will make you a unique and compelling candidate for careers in a whole range of sectors. Embedding employability into the course from day one, we'll be looking at, for instance, you'll have access to master classes, networking events, careers fairs, one-to-one appointments, opportunities for internships through the career service as well. And we've also consulted with employers who have fed back on our plans for the programme right from the very start. So the kinds of things that we emphasise are things like critical analysis and thinking, and this is the ability to apply theories and analytical frameworks to real-world problems and to question what they miss or overlook. Things like interdisciplinary synthesis, the capacity to identify connections and patterns across different disciplines and contexts, writing across different registers, communicating with media and digital environments, and intercultural literacy, so working across cultural difference, reflecting on our own assumptions and communicating with awareness of diverse audiences. Now, there's no better place to be doing a course like this than Glasgow. This is a city that has long been recognised, not just as one with a unique character, with a sense of humour and a pride in its identity, but also as a cultural powerhouse. And running all the way through these courses is a focus on creative and artistic production, engagement with the community and institutions within Glasgow.
Brilliant. Thank you, Greg. And picking up on what Greg was talking about, you had a little bit of a taster there of those liberal arts core courses. So in this section of the presentation, we're going to get into what that looks like for you and what you will be doing year to year. So in year one, we start off with Introduction to Public Humanities. This is the core liberal arts course that you take, exploring the intersection of creativity and activism, thinking about where the arts and humanities have become powerful tools for social change, sparking movements, challenging injustice, and building community. We then think about intercultural literacies, exploring how people from different backgrounds communicate, helping you to navigate multicultural spaces with confidence, sensitivity, and insight, while also exploring dynamics of representation and power within media and various cultural forms. Alongside these core liberal arts courses, you'll be studying courses from your chosen pathway subject, and you'll also have that choice from across the university of a third subject. And if you can imagine it, we probably offer it. So as Athena mentioned in her introduction, she was one of the students taking Liberal Arts 1B, so our course on intercultural literacies this year. And I wonder, Athena, if you can give us a little bit of a flavour of what that course involved, what you enjoyed about it, and anything you kind of learned that surprised you or really made you think.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Maddie. So intercultural literacies, first of all, when I went into it, I did not know what it was. So was it very excited to learn what it was, which is about intercultural communication between people. And as a psychology and linguistics student, it is very applicable to like my life and the fact that I'm an international student here at Glasgow. Like really, the class was made for me in a way. So the like way that the course structure was set up is we did a presentation, an interview plan, and then a reflective commentary. For our in-person presentation, which I had never done an in-person presentation before, so it was really exciting to be able to do that. I'm like, not everybody's a fan of public speaking. You didn't have to public speak if you didn't want to, but I like doing it, so it was good for me. But I was able to do it on Heated Rivalry, if anybody's ever heard of that. I went and analyzed just a 1 and 12-second scene from the very first episode where the characters very first meet, if you've ever seen it. And I was just able to go into a bunch of like theories of like why them communicating was important, the differences between like Russian culture and Canadian culture, a little bit about hockey culture and the concept of chirping, which is essentially like when they throw insults at each other in a sports context. Anyways, it was a really interesting presentation. It was super fun to do. And then I also got to learn a lot about like other people at the University of Glasgow, because for the most part, in my psychology and linguistics classes, it's pretty structured. And also a lot of the people I take classes with are either from Scotland, England. That's it for the most part. I'm like, there's a lot of other people too, but those are the main people I interact with. And so it was really nice to be able to interact with people from all over the world and be able to hear about their experiences. Like one day we were talking about like classroom differences and like what you address your teacher as. And like in your head, you know, those things are different for people, but actually being able to like see that and see the direct comparisons were really nice. And like, we're able to like broaden my perspective on the world. And then for the interview little section of the course, it was super interesting to be able to like write up an interview that you would want to do of someone, just to like get to learn more about their experiences. Found that super enjoyable. And then the reflective commentary is nice because that's like our final of the course. So you don't have an actual exam for it, or at least I didn't, which is nice, to be able to just submit an essay, because the rest of my classes I have a lot of exams for that I'm currently studying for. So it's nice to have like kind of it out of the way. And it was also nice to like reflect on the whole year and be able to look back on like things that I did learn and how it's going to help me futurely in my life. Anyways, thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Athena. And I think you've kind of really captured as well what we're looking to do with these courses, which is for you to see the arts and humanities as something that extends beyond what we're doing sort of in the seminar room and in the lecture room, into things that actually shape the way you kind of navigate the world. And I think I speak for everyone on this live stream when I say we wish you the best of luck in those exams, and thank you for taking the time out from your revision schedule to come and join us. So you can see that we, in sort of years 2 and 4, we continue building on that arts and humanities out in the real world angle. So in year 2, your core liberal arts courses focus on questions of migration, diaspora, identity, and belonging, thinking about empathy, imagination, exploring how people with experience of migration have explored that through films, novels, visual art, and even some performance. In our course on culture and well-being, we explore how the stories we tell, the rituals we practice, and those traditions that we inherit shape our well-being and interface with issues of identity, empowerment, and marginalization. In your 3rd year, which, as Greg mentioned, you have an opportunity to apply to study abroad, and I'll more on that in a moment, we have a course that focuses on Scottish and global environments. So in that, we're exploring how literature, film, architecture, and spatial design shape the way we understand and might even solve environmental and social crises. Greg talked about Glasgow as a fantastic home for sort of cultural study. It's also a great place for thinking about questions of environmental change and regeneration, a city that's had an industrial past and is shifting into an exciting future. And as you can see in that final year, you've got your interdisciplinary dissertation, and this is your opportunity to bring together all the strands of your degree. And your degree by this point is going to be completely unique to you in terms of how you've curated it. And that's an individual project that you develop, supervised by experts. And we've put together this table to show you that triple-decker structure that Greg was talking about, that top layer with your liberal arts core courses sitting underneath your pathway subject, and then underneath that again, that full range of choice that you have going all the way through your degree. And that optional year or semester abroad in year 3, depending on what works for you, if there's a particular destination or a particular set of degree of courses that you want to take at one of our exchange universities, we really build this program around you and your needs. And we do have over 180 exchange partners worldwide. Glasgow is a large university, and it has a large range of courses. This is just a flavour. This is just what we offer within the College of Arts and Humanities. And we're a global university too, not just globally ranked in the world top 100, but also a community that has many international students. And if you're thinking of applying to us as an international student, you'll find support and community here as you get settled in and start to put down your Scottish roots. So even though we're encouraging you to explore far and wide intellectually, we are also very much aware of wanting to provide an intellectual home and community, and liberal arts really does offer that for you. But of course, university life is not just about what you study in the classroom. With liberal arts, we're really interested in you getting involved in the extracurriculars, and these can feed into your creative projects within the degree itself. So Athena, I'm going to come back to you because I know you have an extremely varied and exciting range of extracurriculars, and I wonder if you wouldn't mind sort of sharing a little bit with us some of the things that you get up to outside psychology, linguistics, and intercultural literacies.
Yeah, for sure. So I did screenwriting a lot first year, which basically it's a club, it's a society, I should specify. It's a society on campus that you're able to go and like write scripts for, have a lot of socials, but then also it works really closely with the filmmaking society. So I was able to help out on a couple of our student films last year. I did special effects for one of them. I pretended to put a fork through a guy's hand. Fun. I'm like, and then we have a premiere for that every year. I mean, each semester for the films that are made. I also am part of the gymnastics club. I'm going to be their welfare officer for next year. So that's super fun. We have access to the Kelvin Hall gymnastics gym. So we actually are able to go to a real gym every week. And then we also have access to our student gym for workout sessions, and they have some trampolines and mats there as well to be able to practice. I just kind of go around and kind of do everything. I'm like, there's psychology societies on campus that I do. There's like a journal one where you read a journal article and then you are able to go and discuss that if you're interested in like the specific topic. Yeah, I'm like, I do a bunch of different things, and there's so many options around campus. And like, if you're interested in theater, there's STAG, which is the Student Theater Society, and they're really big. They do shows every year, and they send a show to Fringe every year. And then also there's Shakespeare Society, which I just recently went and watched their production of Hamlet, which was super good. It was set in like a modern day private school. So it was super interesting to be able to see their interpretation of the Shakespeare play. There's just so many things to do on campus. There's also like the Feminist Society and the Pro-Choice Society if you're interested in getting involved in social justice at all. Also, there's like tennis clubs and a bunch of different things that you can like join if you are interested in it. So yeah, there's just a little bit of what you can do.
Thank you, Athena. And yeah, I think that gives like a really good idea of the range. And of course, if it doesn't exist yet, you could be the person to set it up. So we hope that that's given you a little bit of a flavour of liberal arts, but also how liberal arts fits into that Glasgow landscape. The breadth of opportunities that you have on this degree to study different subjects, the depth that you get through your pathway subject, the opportunity to study abroad if you wish, and especially in those liberal arts core courses, the opportunity to bring all of these things together to explore really important issues and develop that sense of the change that you want to make in the world. So we really look forward to meeting you, to finding out what you want your contribution to be. And I think we are ready for your questions. Brilliant. So I can see we've got a question here via email. Can I change my subject choices as I progress through the degree? And I wonder, Greg, if you'd be willing to sort of speak to that one as our expert in all things teaching and program design related.
Sure. So it might be that you're, for instance, uncertain between two of the pathway subjects. And in that case, I think we would recommend that you take both of them in the first year. So for instance, it could be film and TV alongside comparative literature. And at the end of the year, you might have thought that you would continue with film and TV, but over the course of the first year, you might have found, for instance, that you had a great passion for comparative literature, and then you could proceed with that as a pathway through the remainder of the degree. So it's this flexibility is built into the Glasgow system.
Brilliant, thank you, Greg. We have another question about what sort of research opportunities or real-world experience students can get. And I think Greg and I can speak to this from the point of view of being academics running these programs. And Athena, we might bring you in as well if you have friends or you've had your sort of own experiences. But certainly there are opportunities through the Career Service, the Student Opportunities Hub, which advertises internships and placements, and all of those sort of support opportunities that Greg mentioned, sort of one-to-one sessions, sector-specific networking events, and so on. But also within liberal arts itself, Greg, and I think you can speak to this as well, community engagement is at the heart of how we've devised these core courses for liberal arts. And that means that you are getting experience of hearing from, and as you progress through the degree, working with community groups. We're developing forms of dissertation known as applied dissertations, where there's an opportunity built in to work with an external organization, and that is part of your dissertation. So there are lots of opportunities within the curriculum itself to not just develop skills, but also to have that real world experience that Glasgow can offer, and that Glasgow as a culturally rich city can offer. I don't know, Greg, if you would sort of like to add to that.
Certainly, yeah. I was actually, as that question came in, I was thinking of how I wrote a reference just this week for a student who was applying to a really exciting project that was advertised internally in the university for our students. It's a citizen science project that's aiming to create a crowdsourced global map of memorials to the women's suffrage movement. And the successful applicants to that will go to Marseille in France for a week and work on this project. That's the kind of thing that comes through quite often as you know, a kind of opportunity for students to apply research skills in a real world context, and exciting things like that come up quite a bit. Additionally, we have courses that are offered, for instance, in the honours cycle, the last 2 years of the degree, where you might, for instance, I'm thinking of one course in text image studies, where students have the opportunity to apply research skills in the University of Glasgow's library special collections, where you can have the chance to handle precious, rare manuscripts from the 16th, 17th century, as well as to go behind the scenes at the Hunterian Art Gallery here in Glasgow, seeing how an exhibition is curated, and to gain exhibition writing skills experience. So increasingly, a lot of our courses are bringing the research skills out into real world applications and contexts.
Brilliant. Thank you. Athena, have you had any experiences or any friends who've had those sorts of experiences of internships or placements as part of their trajectories at Glasgow?
Yeah, for sure. Actually tomorrow I'm going to help a friend out because she's doing a research study on how alcohol impacts student relationships here at Glasgow, and how that can help shape future experiences on Glasgow. So I'm going to do a focus group for that tomorrow. I just know, as part of like your dissertation, and basically, well, I know for sure in this one, but and in a lot of the areas of the school, you really get to choose what you focus on. So you really get to like self-direct what you're researching and doing in, especially your 4th year, but in your final 2 years. I just know a friend recently got the opportunity to go work on the new HBO Max Harry Potter film as a runner for them, which he got through the university. People have jobs all over Glasgow, and like one of my friends is going to Morocco this summer to help volunteer and help there, and that also came through the university. So there's just tons of things that you are able to do on top of your degree studies.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Athena. So I see we have another question here about options for joint honours with liberal arts and the sciences. So we don't have science pathway subjects here at the moment. But if you are very committed to engineering, it's worth having a little bit of an explore of the options for joint degrees that are available within the University of Glasgow, even though we don't have a specific liberal arts with engineering pathway. So do explore if there are opportunities for other forms of joint degrees, but liberal arts for now is with those 6 subject pathways that we set out. But thank you for your question. So we have someone who says here via social media, I didn't realize liberal arts degrees existed here in Scotland. How do employers in the UK view a liberal arts degree, and what kind of skills will make me employable? So Greg, I'm going to hand over to you for this one, because you were involved in those employer consultations, and particularly with, if I recall, STV Studios. I wonder if you could speak a little bit to that question.
Yeah, definitely. So STV Studios, Scotland-based television production company, were consulted as part of our establishment of this program, and we had a very useful consultation with them in which they commented that a degree like this essentially trains graduates to be able to turn their mind to new topics and build an awareness of the key questions in a topic area quite quickly, and that those are really valuable skills for a career in media production, for instance, where you need to be able to gain knowledge of a subject area, for instance, and be able to have something to say about it quite quickly. So they were very much of the view that the kind of approach, and in academic terms, I suppose we would call it something like cognitive flexibility, that ability to to embrace new topics and apply critical thinking to them quickly, is something that this course would offer. Broadly speaking, liberal arts offers a set of skills that are, really quite valuable today. We've talked a little bit earlier about things like critical analysis and thinking, and this ability to think in interdisciplinary ways, to fuse insights from different subject areas and disciplines, and to work collaboratively as well. I think that's a really valuable skill nowadays, where a lot of training can be quite narrowly technical in focus, and it may not necessarily involve developing those interpersonal skills and intercultural skills that are absolutely essential for a contemporary workplace. And lastly, I would say, I was reading a commentary in the media this week about higher education, and how one expert was commenting that we really need to develop candidates who have a kind of agility, an ability to move across, to move out of their narrow area of expertise, and to be able to embrace new situations. And those, that's precisely the kind of thing that the liberal arts training offers you, I think.
Brilliant. Thank you, Greg. I can see we have an offer holder in the chat as well, so congratulations. It's great to hear you're excited. How can I prepare before coming to Glasgow and starting? It's a great question. I think there's several different ways we can answer it. Certainly, Greg and I can speak to the academic side. And Athena, I don't know if you have some kind of top tips or things you wish you'd known before starting at Glasgow. From the point of view of liberal arts, what I always say to offer holders and to applicants is think about what you're curious about. Think about the things that interest you, whether it's subject-based or whether it's your extracurricular interests. Liberal arts is that really unique space at Glasgow where, because of our kind of creative and arts-based assessments, there's an opportunity to bring in your interests and the things that you do that maybe at school were considered separate or outside your academic study. It's a chance to bring all that you are and all that you're interested in into those spaces. So have a think about what you would like to bring or explore, what you'd like to maybe try out. When it comes to your pathway subject team will be will be able to share sort of suggested reading and so on. But for liberal arts, I think we really want you to come with your enthusiasm and your curiosity and an open mind. I don't know, Greg, if you have anything that you'd like to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could, for instance, liberal arts is very much about thinking about, as Maddie said earlier in the presentation, about what do the arts and humanities have to say about our 21st century world. And you could take a look at the media and think about how many contemporary news stories or the cultural preoccupations of the moment speak to some of the key themes on the course. For instance, interculturality, or the lack of intercultural appreciation and communication skills that we see in certain conflicts in the world today. Thinking about how issues of social justice are apparent, and motivating people across the globe to try and change things in their different contexts, and questions of well-being and so on. So thinking about how the contemporary world is informed by a lot of these ideas. And I would think in more practical terms as well, as Maddie said, the subject teams in the pathway subjects will be able to advise you. And I think generally speaking at university, what don't hesitate to to write directly to academic departments and ask how can I prepare. I've often answered questions about that in the past and suggested particular items of reading, for instance, or different ways in which you could prepare. So just don't hesitate to reach out directly as well to the subjects.
Yeah, absolutely. Athena, do you have any kind of practical bits of wisdom that you would like to share, or anything you wish you'd thought about before you started?
Yeah, for sure. One thing I would definitely recommend is looking through the list of the societies and clubs that the universities offers, and pick a couple of them out, go and follow them on Instagram. So in the first couple of weeks that you're here, they'll have events on, so you're able to go establish yourself and see if you really want to do that club or society. I would also say, I don't know how many of you are international students, but I am. And when I came here, I didn't realize what Freshers Week was. So I would definitely say look up what that is. It's basically the first week before classes start, where a bunch of clubs and societies have things on, the university has stuff on, the unions have stuff on, and it's basically like a giant party week, get to know you week with a bunch of people. So I wish I knew that before I came here as a freshman. That would have been helpful. Also, I would definitely recommend following like the Queen Margaret Union and the University Union. It's the University of Glasgow Union. It's called GUU. I definitely recommend following them because they're going to let you know what's going on during Freshers Week, the events you can go to. I would also say don't stress too much about like the academics and stuff. They're pretty good about like getting you prepped up once you're here. Like, yeah, you might want to do a little bit of reading, but really just be interested in what you're interested in, because the point of the degree is they're going to show you what you need to be shown. Also, I would say that there's, if you're an international student or even a home student, there's a mandatory class that you take when you're an art student. It's like a make sure you know how to write class. I was able to do that online before I ever came here, so I didn't have to worry about it when I got here. I'm sure you'll receive emails about that and stuff. That's how I figured it out. But I would recommend doing that. It was super helpful because I was able to knock a credit out of the way, and like also get a little bit into the university mindset before I got here. It also allowed me to meet one of my best friends who we just met over a video call. And I'm still best friends with her. I'm planning on living with her next year. So would recommend doing that as well.
Brilliant, thank you. And we do actually have a liberal arts reading list, if you are keen, that will be coming to our webpage that I've put together. It's very light touch, don't worry, we're not sending you a huge stack of reading to do, but just to kind of get you thinking in that liberal arts way. And speaking of thinking about that kind of day to day, we have a question here about what a typical week would look like for a liberal arts student in terms of lectures, seminars, and independent study. So within the liberal arts core courses that all students on liberal arts pathways would take, these are very much seminar focused, but we will also have workshops sometimes with visiting speakers. So a seminar, if you haven't come across it before, it's a slightly different way of learning for you. It's very much discussion focused. But don't worry, we don't just sort of ask you questions. You will be set something to prepare, maybe something to read or watch or think about. And the process of that discussion in the seminar room is really about bringing together different perspectives. I mean, if you think just from those 6 different pathways and then all the other courses that you're taking, think about the richness of having all of those perspectives in the one room talking about a particular topic. The seminar is really about being guided by an academic through that process of thinking aloud, sharing your point of view, and riffing off other people as well. But we will also have sessions where we might be taking a visit to special collections in the library to look at a particular object or manuscript, or sessions where we might have someone coming in to talk about their experience or a particular area of expertise. Within your pathway subject, there are different approaches depending on which subject you're doing. Obviously, for theatre studies or film and television studies, there are going to be some more hands-on forms of session. Within philosophy, there will be some courses that will have lectures and then perhaps a seminar to sort of follow up and carry on the conversation. So there'll be a whole range of different types of learning experience. But of course, the difference between university and kind of school study is really that independent dimension as well. So there will be lots of times where you'll be in the library, you'll be doing that reading, or you'll be doing that planning and thinking on your own, or perhaps with a group of your peers, but we do provide the support to kind of help you develop those habits and develop that confidence in working in that particular way. Greg or Athena, do you have anything that you'd like to add about that kind of day-to-day experience? I mean, we're not even factoring in the extracurriculars, the coffee breaks, and all of the other the trips to the botanic gardens that you might wish to factor into your day.
Yeah, I mean, it's the big contrast with secondary education, isn't it? It's that sense that your timetable is much less crammed, but trust me, it fills up very, very quickly, and you'll be looking for times to actually to free up time in your timetable, because there really will be a lot going on. I suppose it's worth saying also, maybe thinking about the architecture of the year as well. So you have 1 week, and then you have these. So a week is one of 11 weeks in the semester. There are 2 semesters, and then there's a reading week in the middle where classes are usually mostly suspended for a week, and you have time to get ahead with the essay or other assignment that you might be working on during that semester, and very often the courses themselves will follow a kind of block structure. So you might have maybe 3 to 4 weeks on a particular topic and then move on to the next one. It changes from course to course, but having a sense of that, I think, can give you maybe allow you to break down the complexity and the foreignness of this university system as you come into that.
Thank you. That's really helpful, Greg. Athena, any tips on managing that time and that busy timetable?
Yeah, for sure. So for my first year, I was actually able to get Fridays off, which was amazing. I was able to finagle my schedule to that. So that was really nice. So I had a 3-day weekend. So I was able to take a couple trips throughout Scotland, took a little trip up to London. So you also need to think about, like, if you want to travel around, there is opportunities to do so if your thing lets you. But for the most part, I would recommend studying early and often. And like I started doing after each lecture, I would just take like 20 minutes put into my timetable just to be able to like reconfirm what happened in that lecture. Most lectures that I found have a reading attached to it. So either doing that reading before to prep your mind to be ready for the lecture, or afterwards to cement the knowledge. I also would say that there's going to be tons of things on. So don't worry about like not being able to fill your time. There's so much on at university, you will be able to fill your time. But I also would recommend like putting in like self-imposed study blocks, because your time will fill up. And if you don't have those, you'll realize that it's gone a week and I didn't study at all. What's going on? I just went to lectures and seminars. I also will say, like, I did theology first year, and a couple of our classes did end up being like, we went to a mosque. We went to Kelvin Grove Art Museum to go look at one of the paintings there. So you also, like, you're on campus, but also you might end up throughout the city, especially with the liberal arts program. So it's super fun. Don't stress about it. Oh, I also just would recommend for students coming, get your young student card. It lets you take bus travel if you're under 22 really easily. So would recommend that also. I'm just going to put that point in there, which not on topic, but important.
Oh, I think it's absolutely on topic. I mean, I think there are so many kind of ways to get discounts or kind of things, and those are a really important part of student life, is knowing what's available to you to kind of support not just your studying, but also your kind of daily life, and being able to take advantage of everything that Glasgow has to offer. All right, we've got some more questions about kind of assessment types. So we've talked a little bit about liberal arts and our sort of arts-based inquiry. So the way that in the core liberal arts courses, we have a slightly different approach to assessment, reflective essays, curatorial notes, and so on. What you might find in some of the other courses that you take, whether it's in your pathway subject or in that kind of third layer where you have that freer choice, you'll find lots of different types of assessment method, some more traditional essays, some group assessments, but you can, as you're making those choices, particularly for your third subject, you can, if you know that there are particular ways that you like to work, you can see the assessments ahead of time, but ahead of choosing that course, so you can make sure that you've tailored a program and chosen things that are going to work for you. So there is a huge range of assessments, diversifying all the time as well. We also have courses within the university, curriculum for life courses, that are very much more focused towards sort of employability and developing particular skills. And some of those will feature assessments that are also geared to that. Fantastic. Okay. Does anyone have anything to add about, Greg, do you want to add anything about assessment types in the university, or?
I think you've covered most of it there, other than to say that as somebody who's been around for quite a while in the institution, I can confidently say that we've gone through a lot of diversification of our assessment types in recent years, and that exactly as you've said, the assessments that address skills that can be applied in the real world are increasingly appearing. Also, assessments that reflect, for instance, decolonial approaches, or, for instance, creative forms of engagement as well, are increasingly appearing. So yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, and actually, Greg, you've given us a perfect link on to the next question that I can see, which is about how this degree supports students who might want to move into social justice careers. So we have a student who's interested in liberal arts with theatre studies in particular, which kind of brings together some of the things that you were talking about there. So the very first course that you study, the core liberal arts course that you study, semester 1, year 1, is the Introduction to Public Humanities, Arts-Based Inquiry for Social Justice. So social justice is the very first concept that we're thinking about and exploring. So you have the kind of core right there embedded in the curriculum. And when we're thinking about careers in social justice, again, it's that combination of having a deep knowledge. So this is an Arts and Humanities degree. We're going to be exploring theories, histories, and practices around concepts and issues related to social justice, but it's also about developing those kind of more practical skills. So when we talk about community engagement, one of the things that we're thinking about, one of the things that we'll be learning about, is ethics, thinking about how to work with people outside the university, thinking about the responsibilities that we have to each other. And that was a part of the intercultural literacies interview plan assessments that Athena was talking about earlier. Sort of features a real reflection on the ethics of talking to people and collecting information and working with sensitive or vulnerable issues and groups. So as well as having that knowledge, you're also going to be learning very practical skills that you can take into that kind of career. And that meshes beautifully with your pathway subject. So within theatre studies, there are particular courses dedicated to activism, social change, and the way in which performance has always been a core driver for social change and social justice. Greg, Athena, do you have anything to add on that?
I would say, yeah, basically we have courses, for instance, that, I'm thinking of one colleague who has a course on community engagement approaches. And for instance, part of what students on that course do is to produce and work with a migrant community in Glasgow to produce an information campaign that community can use. I think it's about access to public services, and it's using in a kind of multilingual context. Increasingly, our courses are addressing issues like that. I think, broadly speaking, a set of skills that you get on this degree program will allow you maybe to move into the third sector, and that's an area that is extremely well established in the city of Glasgow. There are numerous organizations around the city that work both professionally on a voluntary basis, addressing a whole range of social justice issues. And the kind of skills that you get on course like this would be useful, for instance, for researching topic areas, applying for external funding. These are all the sorts of things that you would need for careers in that area. So I think, you know, it makes a lot of sense, not just in terms of the course, but in terms of Glasgow as a city itself, that has a very long, well-established tradition of social justice engagement.
Absolutely. Thank you, Greg. And of course, the Student Opportunities Hub with the Career Service also offers opportunities for sort of internships and sector specific, so including third sector careers fairs, if those could be of interest. And I think we've got time possibly just for one question, which I'd like to pass over to Athena, which is about what it's like to be a student in Glasgow, and particularly what it's like to be an international student in Glasgow. If you wouldn't mind sort of speaking to that, Athena, for us, just as we draw to the end of the Q&A.
Yeah, of course. I would say I love being a student here at Glasgow. I will also say that being a student here is really what you make of it. If you go to tons of society events, of club events, if you put yourself out there to people, if you talk to people in lectures, you're going to be able to really quickly build up friendships and people that you probably are going to know for the rest of your life. But also, if you're really quiet, it might not happen. So I would just recommend, like, even if you're introverted or a little socially anxious, put yourself out there, because people want to meet people at university. That's a huge part of it, is everyone wants to meet everyone. As far as being an international student, there definitely are a couple like hard parts of things you don't understand, but if you ask around, and especially if you've made some friends with people that are from here, they're really helpful in making you like aware of what's happening. And also, you can always ask your professors or people at the university if you're confused about something. Like, I just had a meeting with a professor yesterday asking about a style of exam, because I'd never done it before, and they were able to pretty like quickly walk me through it and make sure I was aware of what was happening. So you can also reach out to people at the university for that. But really, like, I love being a student here because I've built a pretty amazing life. I have a lot of friends. I go to a lot of events. I go to classes. I'm like, me and my friends just like randomly decide to like go random places, and it's amazing. But I don't think that would happen if you didn't put some effort into it. So I would just recommend putting effort into it, because everyone wants to meet everyone. And that's how you're able to like really make those friendships that really make being a student so amazing. So.
Brilliant. Thank you. And of course, you mentioned classes there as well. I mean, with liberal arts, you are going to be with your liberal arts cohorts, that like tight community in your core courses, but you're also going to have that community in your pathways subject, and you're going to be meeting people in whatever third subject area you pick as well. So you will be having classes with people from across the university. So plenty of opportunities to make friends and to hear new perspectives. So that's fantastic. Thank you, Athena. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, I think we are just about to close the chat. I'm just having a little look, make sure we've answered all of those questions. Of course, if a question comes to you and you haven't had a chance to pop it in the chat, please don't panic. You can absolutely contact us, contact the university. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us directly. Now, I think before we sort of wrap up for today, I wonder, I don't want to put sort of Greg and Athena on the spot too much, but also I kind of do. Greg, I would like to ask you if you could say in one sentence why you think people should come and do liberal arts at Glasgow.
I think come to Glasgow because it's an extremely diverse and vibrant academic community, but it's also about the city as well. The city is our resource for this course. We're able to walk out into a museum. We're able to go with our class to a mosque, to an art gallery, we're able to visit special collections. We're able to work with communities. So that's really unique.
Brilliant, thank you, Greg. And Athena, if you could sort of say in one sentence why students should think about coming to Glasgow from that student perspective.
Yeah, for sure. I was able to answer. I was able to choose Glasgow because I wanted to go abroad, and then also I was able to come visit. And I actually visited Glasgow for an afternoon, and I fell in love with the city. I was like, yeah, if I for sure get an offer from there, that's where I'm going. But just like the city is so amazing. There's so much stuff to do. And like there's so much stuff to do as in like where I'm from, and like a lot of times like to do stuff, it costs money. When you're here, like not everything costs money. You can do so much stuff for free, or there's like student offers. And also like, I don't know, Glasgow's just amazing. I love it here. I would definitely recommend coming.
Brilliant. That's a real vote of confidence. And yes, I would say, come to Glasgow because you have everything: depth, breadth, opportunities, being part of an amazing university community and an amazing city as well. It's the best education in all areas that you could ask for. Now, of course, you might have lots of questions, particularly if you're an international student. We've got lots of information on our web pages about fees, about funding, entry requirements. Please don't hesitate to check those out. And there are contact details there from sort of our expert teams who can chat to you about your particular questions. You can also follow us on social media. You've already found us on YouTube. So please don't hesitate to explore. And as I say, don't ever hesitate to ask questions as well, to reach out with an email. That's what we're here for. I think we are drawing to a close. So we just want to say a huge thank you to Greg and to Athena for sharing so generously their thoughts, their insights, and their experiences. And thank you to you as well for coming along. We hope this has given you a little bit of a flavour of what Glasgow can offer. And we really hope to be able to welcome you to Glasgow, whether that's in September, in the future. But we hope to be able to offer you that real Glasgow welcome soon. Okay. So with no further ado, I think, we'll do the classic cheesy end of webinar wave, I think. Thank you so much to everyone for joining us, and thank you for being here. And thank you as well to our fantastic team who are popping in links. Don't forget to check the chat. Our fantastic team who are dropping links to lots of the things that we've mentioned and talked about today, so that you can go and follow up on those. Brilliant. Okay.